Welcome to another episode of URC Chumps. My fellow champions are with me, Jacques, and unfortunately Dara, who was choking just before this, like his team's been doing. Dara, how was
Glasgow.
Galway with your new team of
Glasgow.
Connacht?
Glasgow. I
Good
was at
shot.
Connacht. I've been at more Connacht matches this season than Jacques has been at Sharks matches. So let's just start off with that
He's
as
a
a sort
working
of
man.
snap with. But go away with that. That's not a nonsense, that old working thing. But I'm doing all right. I've mentally recovered just to be mentally shattered again about this game. And of course, we've had some news about during the week that I will get into. I'm sure you've all heard.
Yeah. And Jacques, how you do, bud?
Well, all smiles from my side. Seeing
Oh, for God's sake.
our man has got a black on. Thank you for sticking to the challenge that we made last week. I would have had my red on if you could beat us, but you couldn't.
I said I've read on.
So,
I said I've read on the shoulders there.
That's the
but
blood.
that has to be the blood that's still circulating there on the shark tank, on the goldfish tank. What was it?
The goldfish
The
tank.
guppy tank.
The guppy tank. But otherwise, I've got no issues. I'm happy.
Yeah, well, it's all good this time. Let's start off with the big breaking news of Roundtree apparently mutually departing. Though I did hear a story that he came in absolutely pissed and they then parted ways. I don't know how true that part is, but apparently they departed on mutual terms and have now gone. Dara, what's your take on your second team's coach leaving?
Uh, yeah, it was shock, I suppose, in terms of Roundtree was talking about the game we have this weekend against New Zealand. He talked about that in his post-match interview on Saturday. So I don't think this was planned. But since the start of last season, there has been rumours of discontent. Apparently, himself and O'Mahony weren't on talking terms for a lot of last season. Just rumours coming out like that. I think the final nail, the big nail in his coffin was Glasgow last season. Not beating Glasgow at home in the semi-final, kind of leaving some of our key players on the bench, and then they came on. It was too late. Uh, they should have won that title. If they'd beaten Glasgow, they would have won that title because they were playing only the third best side in South Africa in the final, which are the Bulls. Um, so yeah, the Lions and the Sharks, and then it's the Bulls, and then it's the DHL light wins below that. But yeah, I think that was kind of the nail in his coffin. And then the start of this season, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction in terms of the start of this season, but it's been horrendous. We got we should have lost to Connacht. We should have lost to Connacht in the first game, but we didn't. Then I don't remember the second game. I don't know why. It's just kind of escapes me. And then
Was
they
that the
beat the
blue team
Ospreys.
that
Uh,
caused you a blue weekend?
no, that was the Italian team that no one's ever heard of and no one shall discuss again. Then
Never.
they got then they
Zebra
got
Burger.
battered. Then they got beat
The
by
Italian team
Leinster.
with an African animal.
And then we went down to South Africa, and now unfortunately I have to listen to Itchy and Scratchy slag me about the matches. So the season hasn't been good, but I think our main issue has been defence. Another rumor circulating is apparently he walked because we need. He tried to get a medical joker prop in because Munster have so many props injured that we're playing literal retirement home age men against Oxen Shea and Vincent Koch. And the IRFU said no because we're not Leinster, so the IRFU say no to everything. And so there is rumours that he might have walked, but I'd like to see him stay. They, you know, a lot of rumours circulating around about who they get, and I don't think it'll be O'Gara. Why would he leave Arshell to deal with the stuff the IRFU hand us? They're signing Duan van der Merwe as well, one of your boys. Well, not one of your boys, but one of your boys. Uh, and so, yeah, I don't see it being him. Felix Jones, I don't see coming in. But apparently, England even though they have the clause in his contract that he can't work for a year after leaving them, apparently they're liable to forgive it to a club side. So if he was to go to Munster, apparently they'd forgive it. As long as he doesn't go to another international team, apparently they're kind of liable to let it happen. But I don't think he'll come here. So realistically, I think it will be either Mike Prendergast, our attack coach, or Ian Costello, who's temporary coach, who's in charge of our under 21s. I would like to see one of them kind of see how they get on for a bit and then make a decision. But we have the All Blacks this Saturday. It's a friendly game. It's a game of not that much significance. It'll be a great occasion. I'm excited for it, but it's like the result doesn't matter. If we get battered in that game, I'd move on, get someone in, because we have a month before we play the Lions. It's 30th of November. We play on the 2nd. We have a break until then. And that Lions game, we have to win it. And then you have the two Heineken Cup games. We have to go away to Ulster. We have to play Leinster at home. And then you're gone back into the Heineken Cup. So we have a really important stretch of 6, 7, 8, 9 games, all of which are really difficult. So I think they need to get the right man in and kind of give Costello the game on Saturday. If it gets smacked, move on, get someone else.
You guys can have Dobson if you want.
I wouldn't mind him. The man's won a URC title and he's got to a final. Final that you lost against the best team in the world. But yeah, I mean,
Don't be like that's the Bulls. They lost. What?
The Bulls? Who? Never heard of her. The Bulls? Never heard of her.
Your girlfriend.
Can I ask a question?
We do apologize for your views and opinions of your life choices.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're not in school, Jacques. Just say it out, man.
Who's the best team in the world?
Crusaders. I thought you denounced them. You first were saying Ulster, now you can't.
That's exactly what I'm saying. What's happening here?
I was
side of the train line he's on.
I was going to be an Ulster fan, but I realised that they blew a 19-point lead to Cardiff, so they're actually somehow worse than us. I didn't think that was possible because we're terrible, but apparently no, it is possible to be worse than us. So yeah.
Next thing you know, he's going to say he's a La Rochelle fan because they got an Irish coach.
Oh,
yeah, and they've got a South African man on the wing, Johan van der Merwe.
Don't worry, we'll convert him one of these days to be a Shark supporter.
And they Roman rule.
Sorry. A Scottish man on the wing.
Don't worry, by the way, you changing your teams, you will be a Shark supporter in no time.
Oh, no.
Back in the early days, I will admit I was also a bit of a Sharks fan, especially with the likes of Butch James.
Kirby.
Yeah, I must talk to your wife. She did something horrible to you that you had to move.
To be honest, I know I'm not a fan of the DHL, kind of, the DHL light breeze, but it's better than the goldfishies. So
at least we're true to our name. We are the Cape of Storms.
Yeah, but you're also the Cape of getting battered at home by Glasgow.
Yeah, but
say something.
Carrying on about coaches, there's the rumor going around that the Stormers have actually put out a SOS Save Our Season to Johan Ackermann. I just recently read this week as well that they're saying no, that is not the case. However, it does. The way I picked up that article was Dobson is on thin ice. He hasn't got a lot of room to play with. He needs to get results and get results now. Otherwise, we are going to see a new coach, whether it be Ackermann or another coach, especially with the fact that we might be losing our forwards coach to England. But I think they have turned around and not said they haven't taken him. But, here in South Africa, as soon as someone goes, oh, that guy, there's a good chance within a season or so that guy's gone overseas because someone thinks it's a great idea for a South African player. But I mean,
who are you playing your first game back as well, actually? Because that's his kind of vital one, isn't it?
Lions.
Well, no, because we're playing the Lions. We're playing the Lions on the 30th at Autum Park, so you can't be playing them.
Oh, I'm playing Jacques. in
Oh,
the
you're playing the
Guppy tank.
Sharks.
In the Guppy tank.
Yeah. Thank thank God you've an easy one. So like you'll be grand for a few weeks after that one.
Yeah, didn't you also say you've got an easy one coming?
Yeah, we felt pitiful for you to be honest, because Khaleesi's divorced his wife and everything. We were like, come on, just have it. Just,
So,
you need it more than us. It's okay.
to be
It's okay.
honest, we do not have an easy end of year. I mean, we got the Sharks on the 30th of November. Then
Yeah,
we
then
go
it's
to
Europe.
then we go to
It's Europe
Champions
pretty
Cup.
tough.
Then we play against Toulon in
Hey,
PE.
no.
Then we play Harlequins at the Harlequins. Then we
We
fly
play Harlequins
straight
away,
back
Jesus.
and we play the Lions at home. Only to a week later to have the Sharks come home.
You've got 10 points straight away out of that. Come on. Fair games.
And then after that, then we have a nice little like 2 week break until we play Sale Shark. And I hope and pray Tom Curry comes to
The fifth
Cape Town.
province of South Africa, Sale Sharks.
So we can just shout, Vert cunt, Vert cunt. And
Yeah, the SA Sharks going down to Cape Town. Now that's a new one. That is a new one.
whether or not they have the Dupree brothers, that's another thing, because apparently there's talk about
And yeah, you have another game in Europe after Sale as well, don't you? So I mean, that's
against not yeah, it's not the European game, but we play against Leinster, and then we go to Lions, and then we go to Bulls. Holy crap! How the hell did they come up with all things? So we go to Leinster to fly back to Joburg to go
Let me
play
just
against
remind
a
their
Lions. Then we play
schedule.
against the Bulls. Then we fly back to Wales to go play the Scarlets. Then we play Ulster. Then we fly back to play your team, Connacht.
So let me just remind you. So your run of games is Munster, Glasgow, the Sharks, Toulon Harlequins, the Sharks again, or sorry, the Lions, the Sharks, Sale, Leinster, uh, Bulls, another team, the Lions again, the Bulls again, then Scarlets in Finettley, Ulster, and then Connacht. Whoever made that is an absolute genius. Whoever made that run of fixtures is an evil genius, and I would like to meet this person personally.
I mean, let's look at the
I think they're
Sharks.
a great man.
Let's look at the Sharks, all right? So Sharks have us at home. Then they have Exeter Chiefs at home. So they have 2 weeks at home. Then
Yeah, they should be Leicester.
Then they go play against Andre Pollard. And
Leicester, that would be difficult.
Then they fly back home to play the Bulls. Then they fly down to Cape Town to play against us. Now, that's the end of December. Then they have a nice 2 week break. Then at home, they have Toulouse.
Yeah, they get battered. They're going to get slapped around.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. Why am I getting... I'm checking up the Sharks and I'm getting Stormers things again. Yeah. Okay, my app has gone crazy.
But yeah, I think basically the whole point of this is all of the URC teams have a really difficult period now. So, like, Dobson has to get some wins, like how Roundtree would have had to get wins. Because we have, like, as I said, our run is the Lions, then Stad, then we go away to England to play, not Northampton. No, we play Stad at home, then Castaway, then Ulster, Ravenhill, Leinster, break. Then we have, I think we have, no, we don't. I think we have then the Heineken Cup again. So I think then we have Saracens at home, Northampton away, and then we find the Dragons. So like everyone has a difficult period.
I mean, here comes the thing is now the board of Stormers, do you turn around and say, listen, you have one of two options. You either win the URC or you win the Challenge Cup. You pull the Sharks. Do you say that
you're in the Champions Cup?
Eh?
If you're here in the Champions Cup, you can't win the Challenge Cup if you're in the Champions Cup, bud.
Oh, sorry. Do you win the Champions Cup? It's
Don't think. No,
I
I
think
think.
by the middle of the season, John Dobson will be gone.
Yeah, I think to be honest, if you're looking at a Heineken Cup winner, from my mind, I think it'd be a French side again. I think it'd be Toulouse, La Rochelle, or Bordeaux.
no, but I mean,
They're just
just looking at the Stormers' run, you're either going to have to say, listen, here's your options. Either win the URC or you win the Champions Cup. You, no ways you're going to win both. And I mean, just the traveling alone, looking at it, is insane right
I
now.
mean, by the end of that game, Stormers could be out of top eight contention genuinely. They could lose every single one of those games. I'm not even trying to be, but there's not one game that you're like, all right, if you don't win this, you're terrible. Because even the easiest game out of them, I'd say, is in Connecticut to play the Scarlets, and the Scarlets are on fire this season. So
And with the amount of traveling that's going on up and down the whole time, 2 weeks in Joburg, well, Pretoria, then back to Wales. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tiring on the body zone.
tiring on the opponent, but not just that, also mentally. I mean, you're gonna have to look at
Yeah.
something like the family guys and everything. It's not going to be that easy. But I mean, like moving on and everything, though we could probably spend hours talking about the Stormers. The
review the
hard,
games this weekend.
the big games this weekend is England versus France, not France, New Zealand. So with half the French team sounding like they come from uh, New Zealand and the Polynesian, right? I mean, the lineups right now is for 1, 2, and 3 for England is Genge, George, and Stewart, who's a bit of a new one on the thing, going up against Tamiti Williams, who actually did pretty well during the rugby championship, Cody Taylor and Tyrell Lomax. Then the most overrated lock in the world, Mara Toje with George Martin, going up against Scott Barrett and Tupoya Vai.
Really.
Then in loose is Chandler Cunningham. Well, sorry, the
Chandler Cunningham South. Yeah.
South, yeah, Cunningham South. With Tom Curry and Ben Earl going up against Wallace Atitu, who's probably the find of the year right now for the All Blacks. Sam Kane and Artie Sevilla. Oh, Kane's carrying on. I thought he was going to be done after. Then 9 is Ben Spencer with
Ben Spencer.
Ratima from who's also had a fantastic rugby championship. Then the most overrated 10 in the world, Marcus Smith. I was having a discussion with someone. They were like, "Well, what do you say?" And because there was a talk about Marcus Smith is definitely better than Rich Moanga, and I'm like, I would take Moanga because I know Moanga can actually make a tackle. Where Marcus Smith is still looking for Curtly Aronson after he got stepped in that one game. Going up
They
against
also said Marcus Smith is better than Bowden Barrett. I don't know where these people come from or where they get their stats from, but anyway.
maybe with the boots, but the thing is, and I'm talking about for going for goals, but I mean, for me, I'll take Bowden over Marcus Smith any day. I mean, Bowden has extreme pace. He might not have steps and everything like that, but defensively he's better. And his positional play is way better than Marcus Smith because Marcus Smith is one of those youngsters who wants to do all these funny goose steps and side steps and everything like this, that he actually gets caught flat-footed at a point, or like I said, where he's still looking for Curtly answer after he got stepped.
I think the pivotal point you're missing here, lads, is England have George Ford to bring off the bench, and he's better than anything New Zealand have, from my mind.
George, but that's the thing is George Ford is something for a fly half that I actually enjoy, and I think a lot of youngsters don't focus their game on him because they see someone like Marcus Smith who's exciting, but George Ford is like a Bowden Barrett as well. They sit there,
He wins you the game, doesn't he?
and they know how to control that line. They don't do anything fancy. The problem is you see a lot of these youngsters coming in trying all these fancy, funny little passes and stuff like this. where
I put George Ford and like Andre Pollard, and I'm not saying they're the same quality, but I put those types of players of people that if you can bring them on with half an hour left and you're winning, you win the game 9, 10 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10.
yeah.
George Ford, Andre Pollard is another one. I think that Ntamak is slowly becoming that type of player for France, where just these people, you bring them on, they don't feel pressure in any situation, and you win
Now,
once you bring them on.
the fact you brought on Intermac is actually very good. I think the reason why DuPont is considered a GOAT is because of that combination of him and
Oh,
Intermac.
it's unbelievable.
I
They're
honestly,
unbelievable.
I honestly, before the last World Cup, said if those two carry on playing the games straight through, France has won the World Cup. When Intermac
If
got
Ntamak
injured,
was if Ntamak was fit for that World Cup, they'd have won the World Cup.
yeah, when Intermac got injured, I literally said to someone, I said, "There's France's chance is gone." They're like, "Well, what do you mean?" I'm like, the combination of DuPont and Intermac, because they play Toulouse together and they play internationally together, is the bond that makes them so strong and hard that trying to beat them is very hard because the two of them just know how the other one's going to react. The one's having a bad game, they know how to sit in the right position to make them look like they're having a good game. Uh, it's it was a shame that Intermac got injured before the World Cup, but if Intermac had played in the last World Cup, I would put my money on France
They'd have
winning
won
the
it.
World Cup.
But
Yeah.
yeah, basically, I think for this game, this England game, I'm sure you saw the comments. Firstly, Joe Marler made about the haka that said that it needs to be binned unless there's a reaction to it. Like, in rugby league, they had one there. I don't watch rugby league, but they said that there was a reaction. I didn't even see it, to be fair. But but while it's a stupid comment, I think Marner's just put that out to intensify the game because all of a sudden now you've got the All Black players that there's gonna be venom in that haka, and they're gonna want to put it out and kind of shut him up and shut the English up. And it will fire up England as well, because if one team gets fired up, the other are going to get fired up. I think that comments like that, while that one in particular is a stupid comment, I think that's what I want to see in rugby. Niggle before the match, kind of chirping before the match, saying, we're better. And while I hate Eddie Jones, I hate Eddie Jones. I always liked him for that, where there's always, you want to go out and you want to beat him because he's a stuff I can't say.
Yeah, but
So
what
I
I actually
think
like in the early 90s and stuff is when South Africa used to stand shoulder to shoulder and sing a how can I say, like a African folk song, Shosa and sing that song of unity as the haka was going on. But I think England, because they don't play against the All Blacks as much, don't see the significance of it, significance of the haka. Whereas someone like South Africa, Australia, and Argentina at least sees it at least twice a year. We have learned to appreciate the haka and appreciated the challenge that it brings and the fact that it makes us want to step up to the challenge. I mean, you go speak to all the ex-South Africans and stuff like that, they've said there's nothing like facing the haka and staring it down. Whereas England, you maybe see it once every 2 years or so,
yeah,
and then
but
maybe once every 4 years in
yeah, the one thing I will say about Marder's comments, and this is the last thing I'll say in it, is that when it's stared down and when it's done right by the opposition, it's incredible. Now, one of my favorite rugby union moments of all time is Chabal's stare down of the haka. Like that was incredible. And it wasn't just Chabal, dude. Like it was the whole French team got up in their faces, and it got the crowd going. It was in France, or sorry, it was in Cardiff, but it was all French fans, obviously, because France close to Cardiff. And it was probably my favorite rugby union moment of all time. The fact that Union have banned that, I think they should unban it. Have teams face the haka, get up into it, make it more intense, and just get that excitement going and get the blood pumping for the match.
I agree with that.
What's your takes on that?
Well, I think Joe Marlin just wants attention.
You mean his style hasn't done that?
But he's retarded, so it doesn't really matter. But what Dara says, it's true that it has to be unbanned so that the players can get up into their faces, take on the challenge, tell them, listen, yeah, I'm not scared of you. They must have that. Yes, South Africa had an outside centre, Robbie Fleck.
Yeah, Flecky.
He had that I will kill you mentality, and that was carried over to Bakkies Botha. And if you have that opportunity to move forward when the haka is being done, that also fires up the New Zealanders to saying these people are not scared of us, and you want a challenge. You don't want to walk over like what did New Zealand do to Japan this weekend, like 64-19 or something.
Yeah.
You don't want that in international rugby.
I mean,
But
I believe there needs to be space between it, just probably because I believe it is a tradition. But I do believe there needs to be a point that they can walk up that there's like a 10-meter gap, so halfway between the 10-meter line. So they can come forward, and if you accept the challenge, move up to it. That you're not into it, because I mean, those guys, when you see the temperament, and if you're feeding off that energy, you could already start the game off bad or with men down because you started a fight beforehand. But yeah. But I mean, yeah, going on with the team for England right now, though Marla isn't playing, they got Tommy Freeman, Ollie Lawrence, Henry Slade, Emmanuel Faye Wabosa. You're such an English
Manuel
name.
Faye Wabosa.
Yeah, such an English name. Yo, I mean, that and Natoji, like 100% not Irish, English. Then you have
Well, to be fair, they're both born in England.
Yeah, but I always laugh when you check this, like when
Better.
you pronounce Skuman or Schumann in Scotland. But yeah, the All Blacks is Caleb
And
Clark.
George Furbank.
Yeah. Caleb Clark, Geordie Barrett, Ricky Aoni, Mark Talia, who's technically got South African blood in him, so that's why he's such a good player for them. And then Walt Jordan.
God, South African blood in it. You're clutching at straws, man. But
listen,
genuinely,
Dara, who are you talking to there on the side?
no one.
Don't.
Hi, Dora's mom.
We're gonna have to get together at the end of this year so that we can have, or end of the season, so that we can have fines for all these "Hi, Mom" moments of this
don't
life.
forget, there's also sisters.
Nobody's in the room. There's nobody in the room. Bad the sniper. Make sure I talk good about Connacht.
I've just got a fugly fug right next to me.
I do think, in terms of this game, I think England will win. I think England will win. I don't think New Zealand. I don't think there's a fear factor with New Zealand at the moment. I don't think New Zealand showed me enough during the Rugby Championship, and if England can keep them close up until the 60th minute, I think England will win because they'll bring on George Ford, they'll bring on these guys, and New Zealand crumbled in the last 20 minutes recently.
I did say it was going to be a close game in my predictions. But I do think New Zealand's going to take off with it because I think there has been some pressure put onto Scott Robertson to perform. I think Scott Robertson wants to carry on the momentum that he had against Australia. But the thing is, if New Zealand is going to win, they're going to have to play 80 minutes, not 60 minutes, not 70 minutes. They're going to have to play a full 80 minutes against England. And especially when you're playing against England at Twickenham, if you're not coming 80 minutes, you might as well not even pitch up.
All Blacks by 20.
Not a draw.
No, wait until we get on to our URC review of the last weekend's game because didn't he predict 2 draws?
No, we're not talking about that. That's fine.
No, we are.
You don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I want to skip over one specific game. that happened. But I do want to talk about some of the others, because I kind of want to laugh at Ulster for collapsing against Cardiff because it is quite funny. At the end of the day, it is quite funny, and because I have to talk about Scarlets because I do. I have to talk about Scarlets.
Well, is
Or
that
I
now
will get a
your new
strongly
team?
let me just say, if I'm for nice words, I'll get a strongly worded email about it.
Yeah, well, let's go through last week's results. Cardiff versus Ulster, which was pretty close.
Yeah, that second half collapse out of Ulster was bad. It was bad. Now I didn't watch it live because I was at the other match, but yeah, I checked the score at half time and I saw that Ulster were 19-0 up, so I just went, oh, that's the game won. And then I look at full time, they've conceded 21, they haven't scored. Bad
First
collapse.
team, first team to be leading full points of a half to lose it this season. Because everybody else who was
Finally, we didn't break a bad records.
then your new team, or it seems like you flip-flopping.
My family heritage, the motherland, some would argue.
And Connacht versus against the Dragons. I mean, come on. But anyway, 31-7.
I was at it, right? Great win, easy. They're winning the league. I'm not having this. They're going to beat everyone. But no, Connacht were good. I think the Dragons were good. The Dragons were good defensively, but the Dragons were terrible attacking wise, and Connacht probably should have scored more. But they kind of butchered a few chances in 22. It was a scrappy enough game. It's not one that I'll go back in 50 years and say, oh, yeah, that was the best game I've ever been at. But it was a good win. Bundy Aki played well, which I'm sure will please Kirby, because we all know that he loves Bundy Aki. But yeah,
Boniak is the best defense ever.
Which is one arm.
Bundy Aki is the greatest centre in the world. But yeah, no, it's a good win. It's the type of game that Connacht in past years have actually lost. They lost to the Dragons at home 2 years ago. So nice to get a win, nice to get 5 points. And they have, just like the rest of the teams, they have a pretty difficult stretch coming up, even though they're in the Challenge Cup, which kind of softens the blow because you're playing weak English sides and weak French sides. But decent win for Connacht. Quite happy with the performance they put out.
Then moving on, the game that the Leinster fans are all going crazy for, but they're forgetting one minor factor in it, which I'll bring up now, was Leinster versus Lions, which is 24-6. However, what most of the Leinster fans seem to forget, the Lions are the first team to stop them from getting a bonus point.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't the Lions' best team, was it? It wasn't their penultimately strong team. I was impressed with the Lions when I watched it back, because like while the Lions were lacking in a bit of attacking quality, they scrapped really well. They just made it hard for Leinster. And I said it last week that the Lions got what they needed out of this first trip to Europe, is they got the wins against Zebra and the Dragons, and this was kind of like a gimme game where if you get anything out of it, that's fantastic. But it's all just about, it's kind of a free hit. Just go off and try new things maybe. But they kept Leinster quiet, really. They only kept them down to 3 tries, and their attack was pretty poor, but they got 2 kicks at goal. They weren't embarrassed. They did stand up well. Lions have been the surprise, not surprise package this season. They've been slightly better than what I thought they'd be. Really impressed with them, and actually quite scared for when they come to Thomond Park at the end of November.
They've been a lot better since they got rid of Hendrickson.
Just saying.
Yes, Jacques, that is a bit of a snipe at you. I should keep quiet this weekend.
It's all good. You see, I'm also, like I said last week, if the Lions can keep them up close, they'll stand a chance. And if you take it, the end of the first half, the score was 10-6, which just shows you the defense that the Lions put up at the first half. I
And the
didn't watch
second, to concede only 2 tries in the second half isn't exactly embarrassing, like, is it? Still
not at
quite
all.
decent. So
If
yeah, the
we,
Lions. The Lions last season were great, but they couldn't defend. They were great. If you gave the ball to Nahamba, if you gave the ball to Pretorius, if you gave the ball to Frankie Horn, they were going to score. But they were like the win against Glasgow, which is probably their best win since they joined the URC. They still conceded about 30 points. This season, they're really good at defending and holding out leads and just those scrappy games away in Parma and away in Newport. They're just good at winning those games. And that's the type of games that get you into the top eight, which they missed out on last season.
No, I mean, you have to give it to the Lions right now with the young side that they have. If they don't lose a lot of players, they are on a great path forward. And
They're my favourites for the Challenge Cup, by the way. Them or Connacht.
yeah,
Because they could really have a goal in that. They could really go far inside that.
yeah, but I mean, holding off Leinster to only 3 tries in the game, and the one was a penalty try, is a great feat. They need to walk away with their head held high. They're still second on the log. Leinster.
They're down to fourth, aren't they? Glasgow are going to
Okay, they just dropped. Okay, sorry, my bad. But they're still pretty high up on the thing. They still got a chance. It's definitely not run away from them. And we all know Leinster likes to choke near the end of the season anyway, when they start dropping their players and bringing on their D and C team, and everything like that. Then we had Kings Park Stadium, 41-21. 24, sorry.
Oh, what's that? I need to go. Oh, yeah, okay.
I thought you were a Connacht fan now.
Yeah, I still don't like talking about Irish teams getting battered. What's that? Oh, I need to go and
I thought there was no one there.
I need to go and clean out the bins, is it? Oh, lovely.
Mrs. Dara, we do apologize about your son's choice of teams.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Then the Ospreys.
Moving on.
Ospreys
Moving on, yes.
to beat Edinburgh.
Yeah, Edinburgh were quite poor. I mean, for the fact that they absolutely demolished the Stormers only 2 weeks ago, they were poor. Like they were really poor, and the Ospreys were better than.
Yeah, and then that was the weekend. Done.
No. There was a game in. Excuse my Afrikaans. WP is cat, and there was a game in Stellenbosch, wine country in the Orange Republic, and Glasgow's second choice front five absolutely owns Cape Town. They walk around Cape Town. It's now a new republic. I've heard people talk about a Cape Town republic. It's the Glasgow Republic. It's the next part of Scotland. It's an overseas protectorate. It's an overseas protectorate of Scotland now, because Glasgow have gone down there and they have owned it.
Maybe I should go work there, get some euros.
Also, as well, just for a quick thing on the Scarlets game, because I have no choice. The Scarlets were quite good. That's all I have to say.
No, the thing is right now, but then Benetton put the Bulls in. Sorry, the Bulls put Benetton on Friday, and I don't think the Bulls deserve to win that game. But I will. I will give it to the Bulls.
Lucky.
They did manage to pull it out the hat and come through, and Dan Creel's conversion that gave them the victory at the end. Really, like, if I was Jake White, I would probably be pulling a Roundtree and saying they were effed and whooping the boys for the next week or so until the 30th of November when we play against. And then, Scarlets versus Zebra. Zebra just looked like they were eaten by dragons.
Zebra have played one good game this season. Can you guess who it was against?
Zebra is They play like zebras. They have this great run, but then
Like zebras,
there's no stamina.
they play like a guy playing football with no shoes on for all of their games. They play one good game a season, which seemingly is against one of the favorite teams of a host of this podcast, which means Kirby next season, the Stormers are getting beat by Zebra Parma. But yeah, now they play like somebody who's been spun around 55 times and is
Sorry.
told.
What was the score against Munster versus Zebra?
Oh no! Oh, there's a bunch of people throwing eggs in my house. Oh no! Let's go and stop them.
Trick or treat.
What was the score this weekend, Sharks Munster?
Shame,
What? What?
I know it's Halloween, but don't scare the guy now.
And I'd say
Inside.
my view on well, first off, thank you the Sharks beating Munster. Whoop whoop, my man. And then I'm sorry, I've got nothing to say about the Stormers because there's nothing to say. Thank you. Goodbye.
No, they're just terrible. Glasgow just owned them.
It was a horrible game. I'm sorry. It was.
I did read an article about the Stormers this week, especially about one player who I have to agree with it is Warwick Gelant. Warwick Gelant
With no, wait, before you go, Warwick Gelant with Damian Willemse to the Boland to steal golf clubs with Earl Rose. There you go.
Warwick Gallant has been stealing a living since I started watching him anyway. How that guy is a professional rugby player gives me hope.
Warwick
Gives me hope.
Don't forget, he completely dummied Leinster last season. But
oh my God, he had one.
That
good
was
moment.
last season.
He's terrible. Jesus,
that was like 2 months
he's
ago.
bad. Every time I watch him, I've seen more tackles in a ballerina cup. For God's sake.
Let's look on the positive of Warwick Gelant. His tactical kicking is actually pretty awesome.
There's no positives.
His tactical kicking. The problem is sometimes
the positive part of Warwick Gelant.
He's an ADD player.
He is extremely funny to watch as a guy who doesn't support the Stormers.
The only positive part about Warwick Gelant is him walking off the field. That's it.
So you mean like my Autum Yankees comment? Top right-hand corner of the stadium.
Goodbye. No. Outside.
Warwick Gelant, when he calms down.
And he continues. Just stop it right
Yeah,
there.
when he calms down, Warwick Gelant, for a man who is, I don't know what age Warwick Gelant is, but he's not young. He actually runs around like do you know when you get one of those really small dogs and you let him out the back, they start running around in circles. They go absolutely mental. It's like they've got it's like giving a 3-year-old an ice cream and they're jumping up and down and they're going absolutely mental. They're going bonkers. You're just sitting there going, what is going on here? That's what it's like watching Warwick Gelant play. And he's been playing for years. By the way. He's 29.
There's another World Cup. He's going to go to the next World Cup. Oh, goodness gracious me.
He is nearly double my age. And he goes around like that whenever he plays a rugby match. Even I don't go around like that when I play a rugby match.
The thing is, he gets too fancy. It's that age-old thing. He tries too much of the fancy stuff instead of sticking to the basics. He can be fantastic when he calms down and he runs the lines perfectly. But when he does his own little side steps and running and stuff, it's either his hands that let him down or it's his head that lets him down. If his hands work and he does the right thing and he, like I will still say, his tactical kicking is good. But then he gets a bit too all over the place and then he's either running into a player or he's popping up the ball when there's no one there. I mean, that's why we lost against Edinburgh. is he was doing these fancy things and then popping up half-assed passes that Edinburgh was just like, thank you very much. Back on
Yeah. I think the score lines comparing Edinburgh and Glasgow, whereas I think Glasgow just utterly were dominant compared to where Edinburgh, where it was literally the stupidest mistakes I have ever seen. Bar when Munster went and beat them in terms of individual stupid mistakes, they played the Stormers and the Sharks, somehow committing more stupid mistakes. Although we somehow still got a point out of that Sharks game, daylight robbery, to get a losing bonus point out of that game.
I will still say to this.
How did you get a point?
The best fullback.
4 tries.
Best fullback.
4 tries.
Percy Montgomery.
Well, currently, Munster's best player is our fullback, Mike Haley. He's been pretty much our best player in every single. If you were to go by Munster man of the match in every season, I'd give it to Haley in every single game. He's been our best player by a million miles.
I thought it was the referee, but anyway. I will.
South Africans are moaning about the referee. Bloody hell, you couldn't ride it, huh?
Yeah, we had Brace this weekend. It was Brace's fault that we lost. Okay.
Oh, you got. Don't give me that. You got smashed.
No, we got smashed. No, I will say that. But yeah, I do think Marnie Libok's yellow card was maybe a bit too harsh. Because he was kind of going in for the tackle and just his arm was there as he was coming on. I do believe maybe just a penalty, but not a yellow card. But yeah, we let that game run away from us, and this is the problem, and I think this is why there's a call for Dobson's head right now. And I will be honest, when Dobson first came out, I still remember seeing Robbie Fleck at a restaurant, and I almost went up to a Robbie Fleck to go beg him to come back, because Dobson almost adapts other people's plans where it doesn't work. So when he first came in, he was going with a 6-2 split where we had a backline that was, and I'm going to be honest, was weak. We did not have a strong backline, and he was going with a 6-2 split. I'm like, why are you going with a 6-2 split when our backline's weak and that you need to keep them fresh and rotating? Where our forward and Stormers, Province, whatever, our forward pack has always been strong. And I had no idea why you went with a 6-2 split. Now you can go with a bit more of a 6-2 split now that we've got a bit more utility players in the team. But the problem is sometimes he comes up with these ideologies that are someone else's ideologies. But it works for the other person because he's got the right players and the right mindset. And he tries these players here, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I think the only issue is, I'm just gonna step on your toes here. The Stormers seem very like under Dobson's tenure. I think pretty much everyone that's beaten the Stormers, maybe take away the Northern Tours a bit because they don't send the first team. So you think I'm on about when we beat you down there, when the Ospreys beat you down there last year, when Glasgow beat you last year in the semi-final, and then Glasgow on Saturday. You follow the same structure. If you can just stop the forward pack and they can't get the ball out to the backs, you get fellas like Gallant, like Libok sometimes that just lose the head, start kicking the ball away anywhere they feel like, start trying to run up blind alleys, start giving away stupid penalties, and then it's just kind of a snowball and you kind of start falling down and down and down. That's where I think the Stormers start to fail, is because if you follow, not an easy blueprint to follow, but if you can follow it, there is a way to beat the Stormers.
No, I mean, those are very fair points. And it's something that you always have to look at. And like I said, Dobson adapts awesome game plans from other coaches, but it's the wrong game plan for the team that's selected. Galant needs a strong-headed player to tell him, yeah, stop. Just concentrate on the passes. Don't do too much fancy things. Go for that tactical kicking and everything. I still remember the first season we had the most 50-22 kicks. because him and Damian Willemse were just popping that ball perfectly every single time into the 22, getting the 50-22s, which was probably part of the reason why we won the first season. But it comes to a point that you need someone to tell him to calm down.
Even the dog doesn't want to listen about the Stormers.
I got another one here. He's actually looking at me very intently. But I think it's because it wants to be fed, even though I did feed it already. Yes, you.
Even the dog doesn't want to listen to talking about Stormers. That's when you know
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
the
This
situation at the
dog
club
of mine
is.
is running here up and down. His head is not all 10-4.
A trick or
The
treat.
big thing that I think about the Stormers is the same mentality that the Boks had a couple of years back. As soon as something goes wrong, they can't adapt to the new situation.
Yeah, that's
They
why I think
they
Alistair Coetzee is the perfect coach to take over the Stormers for when Dobson leaves.
He was probably the best coach we had. Unfortunately, he didn't win the Super Rugby. But if you look at Super Rugby stats, Stormers were the most successful team. Not in sense of winning the Super Rugby, just in the win percentage. And I still think to this day,
Let's give a round of applause for the win percentage trophy, ladies and gentlemen.
unfortunately, yes, it was a elusive thing. We played a little bit like Ireland when it came to the finals of the Super Rugby. Um, uh, don't worry, the Sharks were the same as well. And
Now they just can't get to the finals.
no, they just gave the ball to Brian and Banner, let him walk through.
I'm very close friend. Well, I used to be very close friends with Steven Sykes that played lock for the Sharks in that game. And I bumped into him one day and I asked him, listen, how did it feel when a Habana just vroom around you? He said, let me hit you with my truck and then you'll know what it feels like.
No, please say it right. He's Bucky.
He's Bucky. I just wanted to sound nice for our Irish friend there.
No, you need to say it properly. A truck is this big ass Iveco type thing that you see at work, busy logisticking things around.
We have trucks in Ireland. We have these trucks in Ireland.
Do you have Buckies in Ireland?
Well, the biggest trucks we have, and my grandfather used to work on one of them, are big fish exporting trucks. So you see these big, huge
White
trucks.
line
Like if you go near the seaside, like when I go on holiday, at the seaside, you see big, massive trucks and just thousands fish. You send them off across the country. That's why we're known for having the best fish and chips in the world, or one of the best selection of fish and chips in the world.
He hasn't been to Fishhook.
You haven't been to
Corkies, what?
you haven't been to
Yeah,
a town called Killybegs. Let me just say, Gordon Ramsay himself went to a town in Ireland. You can look it up, Killybegs in Donegal, and so that's the nicest fish and chip he's ever eaten in a tech weather.
He never went to Cork Bay. Literally, Cork Bay is right on the harbour. Literally, as they throw it out the boat, it's straight into the fryer, straight into on your plate.
That's the same.
Place
That's the same
called
in the west of Ireland.
Corkies. Oof.
In Cork Bay. Yeah.
I
Let me just say, though,
wonder if that lady is still there that serves the food that's got no teeth. Oh,
Jesus.
legend.
Jesus Christ. Just thank God
Legend.
it's not. Let's just say thank God. If I ever go down to Durban, I'm not touching the fish, no matter how good you tell me it is. I'm not touching the seafood down
No,
there.
you don't go to Durban, you come to Cape Town.
Yeah, you gotta do
Oh,
that in Cape Town.
maybe the seafood there might not, nearly kill me. So,
Well, all I know is in December, I'm planning to go pick up some crayfish over Christmas. So yeah, straight out the ocean, straight onto the pot.
and folks, you came here for rugby. You learn about fish. You learn a little bit of everything here on the URC Chumps channel.
Cape Town, South Africa, we everything. I mean, I can also go like, yes, we beat Bangladesh 2-0 in the cricket today.
Is
But
someone going to say it,
that's
or is I'm going to say it? I'm just going to come out and say it. Yes. Who cares about cricket?
you had to clean up before this podcast. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think we
I
need
don't
to
see the
wrap it
video
up.
evidence.
Yes, we will keep an eye on the Autumn Nations Cup. We didn't really talk about Fiji versus Scotland because we think South Africa B is going to beat Fiji. Uh,
Hey, that's not fair. It's South Africa C, I'll have you know.
okay, yeah, they've got less South Africans now. That apparently the Scottish have learned to actually play instead of
No, they're just
playing.
taking English players now. It's just
True. Yeah, so that's why it's dropped down to C. I get you now. But yeah, all right. Our fellow champions, be safe, keep well. Peace. Have a good one.